Welcome back. It is episode 16 of Facilities First, sponsored by Hero Facility Services. My name's Paul McCarthy, and today I am joined by Brady White with Classic Collision. What's up, my man?
How you doing?
Man, I'm awesome. How you been?
I've been living the dream.
That's awesome. Well, it's funny because you learn things about people, especially by what they wear, um, especially when they're on your show. And could you kind of scoot up a little bit so people can see? So he's a Vols fan and he's from Texas, but he's also a Cajun fan, LSU. And I know there's some people in here that will probably chime in because I'm a TCU fan and a Notre Dame fan. And so I take a rash wrath of you know what about it. So I won't say anything bad about Tennessee. Just don't say anything bad about TCU or my Catholics. So we'll be good on that. So, thanks to Johnny Chastain, I decided to start all my shows off with this icebreaker and rapid fire, first thing that comes to mind. And some of them I may have you expand on. So, you ready?
Absolutely.
Mountains or the beach?
Definitely the mountains.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Good, because that's usually the one that gets people. Coffee or energy drink?
Energy drink.
Phone call or text?
Uh Text so I can keep documentation, but I mean either one's fine.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
It's kind of changed now that I've had we welcomed in our first newborn. Now I'm a night owl.
Well, okay. That can make you a night owl. Now, this next one is going to decide whether you still have your Texas card yet or not. Tacos, pizza, or burger?
I'm gonna go with burger.
Okay. So we're going to expand on that one.
I mean,
And
living down in South Texas for about 8 years, a little over 8 years, tacos have a special place in my heart. But
but you pick burger.
oh, yeah, I've had more burgers in my life than tacos.
Tacos are a staple of every diet, especially street tacos.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. So your desk right now, if I had to ask you to describe it, is it an organized desk or is it controlled chaos?
Oh, it's organized. I've got to have everything in its specific place.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Don't look at my desk right now because anybody that knows me will tell you it's controlled chaos. So, what is the one song you will never skip?
um Honestly, recently it's going to sound a little funny, but Choosing Texas by Ella Langley.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, it's worth a listen.
Okay, is that country or
Oh yeah.
okay? Choosing Texas, which is kind of ironic coming from a Texan who is an LSU fan. But let's jump into the meat of this. Let's jump in why you're really here. So, who is Brady White in real life?
Well, as we've made it clear, I'm a Texan by nature. Now live in the great state of Tennessee, just about an hour east of Knoxville, in the lovely mountains. Outside of work, I'm really big aviation enthusiast. It was a goal of mine at one point in life to be a pilot, but things kind of didn't work out. I'm a self-proclaimed pit master. Do a lot of smoking. Got that from my dad. He is an actual pit master, so I've learned a lot from him. And a fun fact is I'm a unofficial high school long drive champion in golf.
Really
Oh yeah, I can smash a golf ball.
interesting. So, I just have to ask about the barbecue. Um, your dad, since he's official pitmaster himself and he's a Texan, I assume that the best barbecue in the country is going to be what
In
barbecue?
Texas.
Okay, thank you. We can move forward now. If you said anything else, we're going to cancel the show.
Oh no, there's no debate about that.
So this show, speaking of, is about facilities. We could talk barbecue, tacos, and all kinds of food and college sports, but let's jump into how did you end up in facilities, Brady?
So speaking of Dad, he's been in the industry a lot longer than I have. So he got the initial connection made, and then I had an interview one day and just took off from there. Started building a career based off that single connection. So now we're years later and thriving.
And I think you told me you have about 120 stores that you oversee.
Yeah, give or take about 120 at any given time.
So you still have hair. That's because you're young, and there's no gray. But we all know that facilities can cause a loss of hair or some graying going along the way. What's your world looking like right now?
Oh, it's definitely controlled chaos. I mean, I get an influx of tickets at any given time. Across all these different stores, each one has their own individual opportunities that present itself. So it's just a lot of phone calls, emails, trying to get things done. Yeah, it's a lot all day long.
All day long, and it does not stop.
Not at
So
all.
this is a Friday, and Friday it's kind of like, okay, we're coming to the end of the week, but what does a win for the week look like for you?
So I could give a little bit of a cliche answer here. I mean, really, a win is just there's no emergencies. You try to be proactive wherever you can instead of reactive. Proactive is a lot more efficient in the long run. But getting into the facilities world, you don't really do it for the accolades or the pats on the back or the attaboys. You do it because you enjoy problem solving and helping people. So really, I mean, I guess the simple answer could be at the end of the week, a win would be getting to close out a ticket.
Okay. Okay. So what is something that if you were talking to somebody outside the industry, what's something they don't understand about your job that how you do it well?
um, a lot of coordination on the back end. They might see the phone calls you make or the emails you loop people in on, but a lot of it is calling vendors and saying, hey, trying to come up with different solutions and just firing off the hip. Just trying to come up with different solutions to a problem to maybe make it more efficient in the long run. Managing vendors, managing timelines, budgets, and then the big one is, of course, managing expectations across your markets. Each market has its own different needs. And the way you communicate and handle those issues in these different markets is a big factor in it that I don't think a lot of people outside our world know about.
Yep. Yeah, because it really is. I mean, there are so many moving parts in the world of facilities that, one of my questions that I usually ask people is what would you tell somebody new? And I've been dying to say this, but to give them a crash course, get at collision, crash. So, but it really is. It's just a lot of juggling of different things that people don't understand, and that's one of the reasons why I started facilities first. Is because you guys and girls, y'all are the ones that keep it all together,
Oh yeah.
and the ones that the operators love to death because y'all handle everything and make it look easy.
Yeah, I mean the goal with that is essentially they make the initial contact with you. Hey, I've got XYZ problem, and then they can forget about it and trust you that you're going to get it done in a timely and an efficient manner to help them in the long run.
Yeah, yeah. So being in the collision repair, what is one thing that comes up over and over that's kind of your thorn in your side that if you had a magic wand, you would just automatically keep it fixed?
Well, if I had a magic wand, I wouldn't have a job. But I mean, that list is forever long. I mean, in my world, collision industry, it's always paint booths going down, compressors, HVAC, plumbing. So it's just a matter of kind of really knowing some of the issues. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of how to word that. Because when you get a paint booth that goes down, there you could have two shops next to each other. The booths go down at the same time, but one's a completely different issue than the other. So it's all about knowing how to get that fixed in a timely manner. Maybe you've run into that issue before. So what I like to do, especially in my world, is I keep track of everything in separate folders. It kind of blows people's mind how organized I get in depth whenever it comes to filing things away, because it's all about knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the easier things can get in the long run whenever you face a similar issue.
Yeah. That's so true. Is organization for you guys and girls is so important because each store does have a little different. It's something's a little different. Not everyone's the same, and not every call's the same. And so that's you know, I'm jealous of your organization. Let's just say that. What's something that you do on a daily basis that somebody that looked at you would go, God, that's boring, but it really, really saves you a lot of pain later.
I'll kind of keep the same theory here is good documentation. I think to me one of the biggest pros is being very organized and very communicative. I mean, the more organized you are, yeah, sometimes it's a pain to keep everything organized, but going back to, hey, if I have a similar issue at another location, I can say, hey, I've got documents for this. Hey, let's give this a try. So just staying organized and staying on top of things really helps. I mean, it's takes a lot of time and a lot of boring late nights to get organized, but I mean, it's definitely worth it in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. So you and I both know in a matter of 30 seconds, your day can spin out of control. What is your first move you do to get control back when you get that call?
Definitely, the first thing I do is I definitely reassure whoever's calling me that, hey, if you called the right person, I will get this handled in an efficient and timely manner. A big part of what I do is building that trust with these general managers and operations that they can rely on me, so they don't have to. They need to be obviously focused on, in my world, turning cars and getting cars out the door as fast as possible. So just essentially reassuring them that, hey, I've got it. Don't worry about it.
And that's something that has kind of evolved through the years. You're much younger than me now that we discussed ages. But when I was dealing with facility issues back in the 90s, we didn't have a FM to call. We were calling around ourselves, and y'all have kind of become as facility managers, y'all are relationship people, and y'all also educators for your operators.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the cool things is when you have those operators that you can impact, with these small little tricks, how to troubleshoot things, because it affects the bottom line for everybody.
Mhm.
And let's face it, every time that vendor comes out, there's a charge. And so, as an educator, what is your favorite thing when you walk in a store? Uh, how do you handle that?
So, I mean, it really comes with building trust with everybody. Again, where they call you and they don't have to deal with it. Then when it comes down to getting the quoting process underway, might have to go get two or three or four different bids depending on the severity of the issue. It's me getting all the quotes instead of having the GM or operations go through and figure out, hey, are we being quoted apples to apples? That's what I do. I pull up all the quotes all together, look at the verbiage of all the quotes, make sure we're getting quoted apples to apples. Like for an HVAC, for example, if two people are quoting a 10-ton unit and I've got two other people quoting a 25-ton, there's some disconnect there.
Yep.
So instead of the way I like to take it a little further is essentially giving operations all of the information that they need in a condensed form, because nobody but us in our world that just this is our sole job. They don't have the time to sit there and run through all these different quotes that we get. So that's where we come into play. We give them all their information in a condensed form and help them make the proper educated decision to get it done.
Yep. Yep. And you've hit on this several times, and I'm going to flip to from a FM to a partner standpoint. You know this is a relationship game, and it comes down to trust. So you've said it several times. What do you think people underestimate about trust in relationships and in business in the facility world?
I mean, especially coming into a new market, sometimes market change, territories change depending on the needs. So they kind of put different people in places to kind of help advance some of that trust and team building there. But what I personally like to do is when I get a new territory, I go in, I shake hands. I treat everybody like they're a celebrity, if you will. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. Try to build that personal relationship with everybody. So that way, 5:30 on a Friday, it never fails. Something breaks. They know that they can call me.
Yeah.
So especially whenever you get into, some acquisitions, a lot of people have been doing it their way for, 10, 15, 20 years. So somebody brand new coming in, it's hard for them to kind of hand that over.
Yeah.
So the more times you can get there, hey, I'm working for you. We're a team. I'm here to help you. Um, and then it's a matter of whenever they give you that first initial opportunity, you got to take it and run. You got to show them that you can. So it takes a little bit of time, especially in a new market, to build that trust. But once you do, and they give you that initial contact, man, you gotta act on it and show them in the long run that they made the right decision by trusting you.
Yeah, and as a vendor partner, I mean, it's imperative that we have that trust. So it's the same thing. Trust is so imperative because, especially for a facility manager, because you have two different people that you're working with. You're working with the vendor and you're working with operations, and you've got to be able to be the liaison and kind of coordinate and help coordinate. So, speaking of vendor partners, you've probably had several, but what separates a great partner from a headache in the first 30 days?
Um, Definitely communication. I'm very big on communication. So to me, that forms the ultimate partnership. Because I probably tend to over communicate a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's all about documentation. So that's really probably my top answer is communication. That you can stay proactive instead of reactive. Getting to know everybody, trying to figure out how to work well together. So yeah, I'd probably say communication would probably be, at least for me, the right answer for that.
Well, I will tell you that communication has come out of everybody's lips first when I ask this question. And I especially think now with our platforms that we have that we can communicate through and put notes in and everything, that we sometimes miss that relational AI coming in, especially. There's still that relational communication that AI can't really do or a note can't really do, because if there's an issue and it's a high priority emergency, uh, it's better to hear somebody's voice than to see a note, because like you, my ADHD, if somebody asks me what time it is, I build them the clock. And my wife, it drives her crazy, but to me, every detail matters. You can decipher, what you need to hear, but there might be something in there that really matters that I could just skip if I just kind of skimmed over it. So it's
Mhm.
a common occurrence that I hear communications number one among FMs with their vendor partners.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your leadership. And you've kind of grown up in this business, and you've seen a lot of changes in the business. But how has your leadership style changed over the last few years?
Yeah, I'd say I've been fortunate enough to grow up with some amazing people around me who have kind of shaped kind of my career path a little bit. you know, being heavily involved in sports, team sports, you know, trying to set yourself apart in the leader role to, you know, make everything enjoyable and just help better people. That's always been kind of what I've felt that I was put on this earth for, is to help people. Um, so I'd say, well, and we just welcomed in our first newborn. She's 8 months old now, so she's the boss. So I'm essentially trying to be a different kind of leader in a different way. You know, work versus at home now. Obviously, I'm tasked with leading my family in, you know, the right directions. So it's, to me, a big challenge about being a leader is, especially when you have a lot of people on your team, is trying to figure out how to be, you know, a good communicator to all of them. People reciprocate things different ways. So it's all about, and, you know, I've got 120 plus shops right now. So that's 120 different GMs that, you know, a lot of them talk a certain way, if you will. So you've got to know their issues and kind of know a little bit about their background to help them understand things a little bit clearer, if you will.
I agree 100%. One of the things I always say is you have to treat people like a bank. You have to make deposits to get withdrawals. And when you're in a leadership position and you have 120 different operators, John at store number 32 is going to be completely different than Maria at store number 58.
Mm-hmm.
And so you learn the one that you can be straightforward with, and you learn the ones you have to kind of sugarcoat and kind of walk through. And and that's a true sign of a leader, is when you're able to see that, because a lot of people think it's one size fits all. So
Definitely not.
it's definitely not. So with that being said, what is your daughter's name?
Brienne.
Brienne. Okay. So she is the boss from now on. I have to go through her for all scheduling and everything. Okay, good deal. So talking about leadership and continuing on that subject, what is one leadership skill or trait that you're still working on right now?
um, I mean, being a leader, you really never stop trying to grow and better yourself. You know, as a leader, you're really only as good as the team around you. So to me, if you're not actively, you know, trying to help grow your team, and, you know, help them and to better themselves as well, and, you know, potentially grow them into leaders, then, you know, to me, that's essentially a failure, for lack of a better word. So that's always something I'm trying to work on, is, you know, trying to bring everybody up, help them out where needed. You know, not necessarily give unsolicited advice, but definitely, you know, try to give them the best tools that they can to succeed on their end as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's the never ending battle.
And you said the never ending trait is growth. And man, every day we grow. And every situation helps us grow. And a lot of people, it takes them a lot later in life to figure out, hey, I don't know everything. So it's good to see that you mentioned that growth and being able to learn from it and move forward from it. So let me ask you, because every facility manager has a great story, and I'm going to call them a war story. So tell me a day or a war story that got real weird, real quick. What happened, and what was your first move, and what did it teach you?
I'd say the first one that comes to mind, it was real. It was like 5:30 on a Friday morning. I get a phone call that a break room caught on fire. So I first thing I did was pinch myself to make sure it wasn't a nightmare. But I was fully awake. So I first thing I did was hopped in the truck and started moving. Luckily, the fire suppression, of course, did its job, so it contained it to the break room. But it happened to be like an old, you know, 1970s or 1980s stove that just, I mean, and they've had that stove for 20 years, and it randomly sparked in the middle of the night and flooded their break room. Had like a foot of water in it.
Oh my god!
So wasn't Yeah, some of the damage was significant, but overall, in that big of a shop, it mostly contained to the break room. So overall, it wasn't too bad. The thing I really learned that day was documentation is key. You cannot take too many pictures in that scheme of things.
Don't get me started on insurance claims.
Insurance is
Just
fun.
note yourself, for anybody out there, whether it's your home or your business, if something happens catastrophic, take pictures, take videos, document, document, document. And that's all I'm
100%.
going to say.
Yeah.
So, right now in facilities, I mean, we've got so many cool things happening, whether it be AI, whether it be just asset tagging, just all these cool things happening. What excites you the most, either in your role or with your team, or just the industry in general? Where are we headed? What excites you?
Man, every day I wake up excited to do this job because it's going back to the whole there's no two problems the same. Yeah, the ticket might look the same, but it's completely different. So if there was a ton of repetition and it was just something, something really simple, then it would be kind of boring. But waking up and getting all these different tickets and making all these different connections and phone calls with people about, them needing to trust you to get things done, it's to me, it's exhilarating, getting to help out, and I really like solving problems. So trying to find the perfect solution. So that's what fascinates me about it and keeps me going. Just the ability to continuously learn. You learn something new every day. If you're not doing it right.
Exactly. So, we started on some fun. Let's end it on some fun. So, next question, and I'm going to change it up on you a little bit. What is the one hill you will die on, either in work or facilities?
Cheaper is not always better.
Okay, elaborate.
I get and certain. I mean, everybody does. All over the place, not just in the collision world, but everybody's looking for the cheapest price. 90% of the time, that's what they're looking for is the cheaper bid. But that also comes with vendor management, understanding the quotes. Like just a random example I'll throw out there that happens quite a bit is, we'll take an HVAC for example. I might have a quote and they're $1,000 apart, which in the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad. But apples to apples quote, one's $1,000 higher, so everybody's like, okay, let's go with the cheaper bid. But the thing that as a facilities person, you have to understand is lead times is a huge factor in it, because this company A, who's $1,000 cheaper, might say, oh yeah, this is 7 to 14 days out, whereas company B can get it done for $1,000 expensive, and they've got it sitting on their shelf.
Yep.
So then you have to weigh in the whole, the value of it. Do you want your team at the shop to be, not having AC for another 7 to 14 days, or, what do we need to do in the long run? So that's a lot of it, is just understanding the different quotes, but definitely cheaper is not always better.
And I think you said apples to apples earlier, and that's one of the things that I think facility managers are great at, making sure that it is apples to apples, because two vendors can see two things totally different,
Mhm.
and they can give you different quotes, and asking those right questions and knowing the questions, and knowing the process is but cheaper does not equal better always. Now, here's my last one. It's my signature close. What is the one question that I didn't ask Brady that I should have asked you, but I didn't know to?
Hmm, I guess in the facilities world, like how you measure success, essentially. And I think that could be, it sounds kind of funny because the name of the game for a lot of it is getting the problems, the opportunities resolved and closing the ticket. But the funny thing is if you run out of tickets, then there's obviously something else going on. So to me, whenever I continuously see tickets and get these phone calls that things are essentially breaking, or they need a preventative maintenance done or something. Just getting steady tickets tells me that I'm doing my job essentially. And yeah, obviously we don't want things to break, but if you're in facilities and that is your sole job is to get things fixed, and especially in a territory like I've got with 120 different shops across all these different states, is if I stop seeing tickets, then am I doing something wrong? Essentially, did I lose their trust? What do I need to do to get them to start putting in tickets?
Yeah,
Because that's essentially, if they start doing things on their own, then that's taking time away from what they need to be actually doing. So
that's true. That's true. That's a great point. Well, Brady, I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join me. And I wish you the best of luck. And your boss, I hope she lets you sleep a little bit. Um, and, and believe me, I didn't have a girl growing up, but when I got married, I got the daughter I always feared I would have, and she's about to be 22, and I'm wrapped around her finger. So it only gets worse.
oh
So,
yeah, no, I'm fully ready for it. I
brother,
think.
I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate everybody for joining us. And that's a wrap on Facilities First, and we'll see you next time. Be
Thanks for having
blessed.
me.